research idea. Next, please. Next, coming to the method, the experimental or descriptive method that you use, whatever method that you are trying to use in your research, you state it over here. The hypothesis, the location that you are going to use for your study, the experimental design that you have formed, samples you take, variables, whether they are measured, very clearly and lucidly in the method section. Next. Then equipments. If it is a scientific study, the equipment that is used must be stated. The idea of stating the method clearly in your research paper is that you help people reciprocate the same experiment later on. So if if I am doing some kind of experiment here in India, and once I put it in a paper and once it is published, somebody else, probably maybe in an African country, would read the work and would like to replicate it. So I must make everything very clear to the person as to how I did it. So data has to be even the way you analyze the data, the statistical process you followed, the tools you used, everything would be stated in the method. Now, reviewers look forward to a very complete method section. It tells them very clearly whether your research had any errors or not. So therefore, once they read, they would like to see whether it was a very a properly conducted research. Next, please. Then results that you have. Okay, when you state your results in scientific papers, mostly they put it in tables or figures. So results are your main findings. On the basis of the experiment that you have conducted, you show that you have used some statistical tool, and the analysis that comes out is the result that is there. So in the result column, give it a heading and then very clearly state the result clearly. And generally we state our result and we feel that it is done. But a good way of doing it is, do it, compare it. Maybe in the table that you are drawing, you can add a comparative table and show the the findings of previous researchers, previous publications, and it will help the reader, the reviewer, see how your results are different and what how your findings are unexpected or new or novel to the field. Next, please. Now, discussion is very important, because if results are stated in a tabular or in a figurative form, discussion would help you to write very clearly how you derived the result. Okay, and this is where you sell your data. Whatever you have collected, you argue and you put in very clearly as to how your results came. But then we must be very careful when we are writing the discussion, because the result should relate to the original question. And whatever interpretations we derive out, there shouldn't be something new out of the blue coming out in our discussion. It should be related to the research question that we started with, the hypothesis we started with, and it should, it should gradually show the result coming out of it. So, and like I said earlier, if there is any difference with the previous investigations, then there you state very clearly as to how your finding, how your method is different, and how the finding that you are deriving is different from the other researchers. Okay. Now, coming to the conclusion. The conclusion is simply revisiting your important findings, but then it doesn't just state what you have found, it tells also the implication in the field of your knowledge. Whatever work you are doing, how you are doing, the finding that you have, so how is it going to help in the progress of that subject or that discipline. So it tells you how a new idea helps in the growth of a finding. So if you've done some novel work, I would say just don't stop at your finding. Say as to how it is going to add to a new a new beginning in that field of knowledge. Then another thing is is that you must give suggestions for improvement if there is any limitation to your research, state it very clearly. State it clearly as to why there is this limitation, and you can then even recommend the future scope for research. There is some future scope, how the same thing can be replicated in maybe a different scenario. You can state all that in conclusion of your paper. Next, please. Now we come to referencing. Now, and like I told earlier, all standard journals expect you to read at least more than 20 to 30 say research articles, and then put it in references. Okay, so once you put it in reference, you have to be very careful. You need to follow the guidelines of of the journal. Some journals may follow the APA style, some may follow MLA, Chicago manual. There are many styles, and these days universities that come up with their own journals have their own style also that they follow. So we need to be careful, and we need to follow that style thoroughly. It whether it is in-text citation, or it is or it is the referencing style at the end, or work cited at the end of your article, please see how the journal does it and then do it accordingly. Then spelling is a big problem. Like sometimes people some journals accept only American spelling, some use the British spelling. So in either case, try and modify it according to the journal. Then punctuations used in citations, in references is important. So be very careful to put a full stop and a comma. And when you are citing sources, remember that sources that have not been say translated properly, are in local language, are not the right sources to refer to. And even blogs or Wikipedia, like yesterday's presenter very rightly put, that Wikipedia and all these sources are not right sources to read and to refer to. And therefore, I would say that if you're reading good literature, good publications, obviously your thought process, your own comprehension of the topic would change, and then your work would be much different. If you are going for some very say paid journals where which is not peer reviewed, then in that condition you will probably not come out with a very good publication yourself. Okay. And therefore, like I said earlier, format is your responsibility. You cannot compromise on it, and editors don't bother. And therefore, you are giving them, if you have not formatted your references properly, you're giving them a reason to reject your manuscript. Next article, please. Oh, sorry. Now, to go back to the final checklist, if we are drafting a manuscript, considering that we want to publish it in some Scopus index journals, this is the list of things that we need to be careful of. First of all, you start by, when you are writing, you write the first draft and sit with it, I would say, for several days. I totally disagree to the people, probably they are doing a commendable job, but I find it very difficult that people, when, to write an article maybe in a week's time or so. I've heard most of the, people who have published in renowned journals have always taken their time to write a good article. So once you are ready with the first draft, leave it for several days. And after that, maybe come back and reread the article. You will read it with a new look, and you will have a critical perspective of it. Whereas just finishing something in one go will not help you have a different perspective. Another way could be, you can ask your friends or peer to read and ask them for suggestions. You will see on ResearchGate, people ask opinion, people send their research, and they want other people's opinion to see whether the work that they are doing is right or not, whether the direction they have taken is right or not. The third thing to do is to keep reading and editing your paper again and again. Please do not be so overconfident. Read it again and see whether I can improve on it again. Then your article has to have a logical argument. Okay, so you see that from the reviewer's point of view, am I able to state very clearly or effectively the idea that I have in mind? Am I simply assuming that the other person would read and understand? So the logical argument, whether it is clear in your article or not, would come only when you are rereading the article, maybe after a gap of a few days. Then, cut paste. If you have taken quotes from some sources, be sure that it is properly blended into the entire article and it doesn't stand out in a wrong font or so. Then, we need to double check on the style guide, as I said, and we have to be accurate in terms of spelling and whatever argument we are making. And lastly, before you even send the paper, I would say that be very careful that the paper is in perfect shape from your point of view. Okay, do not wait for somebody else to pick up your errors. See, read again and again before you think of sending. And once you are sure that it is right from your point of view, go ahead and then try and send. But along with the paper that you're sending, if it is not a journal that has its own say website where you have to send the paper, if if you have to simply mail it to the editor, I would suggest that you write a very good email stating the idea that is there in the paper and why you felt that this journal would be the right place to send. Next, please. Now, the reality of Scopus index journal is that, as I told you, 40 to 90% rejection. Okay, let us understand that I feel almost everybody has gone through rejection. If you're aiming to publish in high quality journals, rejection is part of the game. So do not be disappointed or discouraged if you receive rejection. I feel rejection, once you receive, and if it comes with comments of the reviewer, it is a great opportunity to improve on your work, because the reviewer is an expert in the field. He would have gone through the paper, he would have picked out the exact problems in your paper, and once you receive that, grab the opportunity, reframe the paper according to the advice given, and then if they are willing to accept the paper again in the same journal, well and good, you can approach them again. If not, along with the suggestions given by the reviewer, go ahead and try another journal. You will have to make a number of modifications, like the other journal may follow another referencing style. It takes a lot of time, it is tedious also, but then I feel that that is what is required, and we have to keep trying again and again. But then if you face rejection, please do not be disappointed, because almost everybody goes through it. If you're trying to send it to a good reputed journal, getting it right the first time is not so easy. Now, if you submit to and when you are trying to submit it to another journal, please remember that you should have made the changes, because often reviewers can be the same. And a very important thing is publication ethics. All right, publication ethics cannot be compromised, and therefore, can I have the next slide, please? Yeah. Starting with plagiarism, I think Dr. Gohi yesterday gave a very good talk on publication ethics on the same platform. But we need to understand that almost all Scopus index journals look for less than 15% of plagiarism. If you go beyond, say, 20%, if there is more plagiarism, then it is not acceptable. And there are very clear tools today to check plagiarism in your paper. There is Turnitin. There you can log on. Although Turnitin is paid, if your university has the access, you can check plagiarism in it. And there are some good softwares that are free of cost also, that check plagiarism for you. Sometimes it is self-plagiarism that we do. Once we have published a paper, we probably have the same idea in mind and we state the same thing. So that would come under self-plagiarism. and we need to avoid that also. And even a word, even say a phrase or something, once you've coined it somewhere or you've written it somewhere, if you reuse it, so it can be easily found by one click, and the journal will consider it as plagiarism. Then duplicate publications, like I said, you cannot publish the same paper in two journals. And duplicate submissions also, you can't submit the same paper in two journals hoping one would accept it. It is not done. We can never take this for granted. Then another thing to do is data to remember is data fabrication and data falsification. Okay, it's a huge crime. I think especially people who are doing a lot of data analysis, sometimes they try and modify it a little bit and feel that would that would help. Please understand, the reviewers are smart people. They understand how the method works, and if they have slightest doubt in the data that you have used and the results that you have found, they would ask you to review it, redo it. So try and refrain from fabricating or giving any false data in your paper. Then the next thing is we need to acknowledge prior research. Sometimes you'll see in some journals there are acknowledgements that is added at the bottom of a research article. Okay, people like to acknowledge somebody who had supported them in research. Okay, so that is a good way of showing gratitude for anybody who's helped you to do the research. And another important thing is you must add co-author's name. It will be very embarrassing if after some time somebody wrote to a journal that has published your article that you had not added that person's name, whereas that person had co-authored the work, and somehow if the person proves that he was the co-author, you are going to be in trouble. So therefore, remember, ethics are really important. And with this, I come to the end of my talk, and I would simply end by saying that research means that you do not know. Please understand that we cannot know everything, no matter at which stage of life we are. Okay, but it also means that you are willing to find out. So it is like a continuous process. You have to keep trying, and you have to keep working hard to come up with new ideas and to publish good research. Thank you very much. Next slide is references. These are the references that I used to take information for this talk. You can get detailed information from all these things. And last slide, this is my email ID. In case of any doubt or any other further communication, you can write to me, and I hope I'll be able to be of help to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Madam, there are plenty of questions, and
yes.
You started at 4:30 and finished at 5:30.
Yes.
Exactly as we discussed on our presentation. And see that the audience are very receptive. Even at 5:30, you could see 520 plus audience stayed to do this.
Okay.
That shows that
I'm honored.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. And that shows that people are giving too much of importance to Scopus journal, papers published in Scopus journals. And there are plenty of questions, and we take few questions because still I'm happy. Still I could see 500 plus participants are there, and still they are posting questions in the chat box. The first question, and let me take. Could you clarify the blind, double blind, and triple blind peer review?
Okay, all right. From what I understand, okay, blind peer review is when your name, if you are sending a manuscript somewhere, your name is blacked out, or your name is not known to the reviewer. So the reviewer will read your article, your manuscript, without any knowledge as to who the author of the manuscript is. Double peer review is, blind peer review is when they are like 2 or 3 levels of review, where there is another group that will review. So somebody else will also. So the editor will not simply bank on, say, one reviewer's decision. He would like to take somebody else's decision also. So that will make it double and triple peer review.
Thank you, madam. Now, your second question is, what is the difference between Scopus journal and scientific direct?
Oh, all right. See, both are are handled by elsewhere, and what in Scopus index journals you see, actually they are databases, and in Scopus index journals you will see that you have only abstracts. Okay, you do not have full articles, whereas in Science Direct it is free and it gives you the it gives you the entire article to read, whereas Scopus has only abstracts and the citations.
Next question is, see, one of the participants has asked you that why did you use references? Why not what's cited?
Okay. See, I used references. Works cited would be if I would take quotes from various sources. Okay, references are I read these sources, and I gathered information. I may or may not quote. Works cited are exactly when you quote from these sources. Whereas references are when you have read, you may or may not quote from those sources.
So what is the difference between the journals of Scopus and the journals in Elsevier and Springer?
See, Elsewhere and Springer are publication houses that come up with a number of journals. Elsewhere owns Scopus, but in this Scopus database that was formed, they have included not just Elsewhere or Springer journals, they have included many more publication houses published journals. Like we have Taylor and Francis, we have Emerald, we have Wiley, we have what was I'm sorry, so there are many other publication houses that have also that are also indexed under Scopus, not just Elsewhere.
Which indexing is good, ESCI or Scopus?
See, ESCI, I think is emerging SCI index. That means that ESCI is enlisting the articles, or the journals that would that shows some quality, but the decision has not been taken. So they would they would like to consider these journals, but they are not yet indexed under Scopus. But obviously, a journal that has been indexed under Scopus is considered good. ESCI is on the way.
Next question, madam. If the articles get rejected in Scopus, can we reframe it and send it back?
You can, generally when they reject your article, what they do is they, there could be two decisions. All right, one could be that they would want you to, redraft, revise the article, and they'll give you exact points on which the revision needs to be done. So that means that this journal wants you to revise the article, and they are willing to, review it again, and they will consider it for publication. So if that is what they have replied to you, so in that condition you would follow all the suggestions that they have made, and you revise your article accordingly. If they simply say that they, the reviewer has given this decision and they do not wish to, and they would also add a line and say that, but you must consider, sending your article to another journal. That means that they want a major revision of the article, and probably they don't find your article to be fit in publication, fit for their journal. So in that condition, you then approach another journal, and it is absolutely all right if once it is rejected in one Scopus journal, you must try somewhere else and try and get it published.
Thank you. And what would happen if a journal is in the Scopus list, but not in UGC CARE list?
You obviously, if it is in UGC CARE list at the national level, it has a lot of merit, all right? And probably once it is published, you can even take pictures, or maybe you can upload it on ResearchGate or Academia and tell the world that you've published an article in this UGC CARE listed journal. But then for the international audience, for the international researchers, Scopus means a lot. Okay, it instantly takes you to the international fame. So therefore, once you start with, I think having a few publications in UGC CARE listed journals is not bad idea. But then I think it is better that we try to publish in Scopus index journals.
And one question, madam, and yes. She asked, how did you get into NIT?
Okay, all right.
Being a student of literature and English.
Yes, see, all NITs have humanities department. Okay, so apart from that, they come up with advertisements, and right now I think most of the NITs are advertising for new posts. So you can look at the websites of various NITs and see whether there is an opening in any of the NIT. The prerequisites are first PhD. You have to have PhD, PhD degree. Along with it, if you have a few publications in, once again, Scopus Index non-paid journals, you have a good opportunity. After that, as most of the NITs are autonomous, they have their own screening process. Although there is a clear guideline from Ministry of Human Resource Development that tells as to what will be followed. So following that, they would do the screening, and then one can get a job. Having said that, please understand, once you are a part of NIT, your literature becomes mostly your area of research, as most of the NITs, English teachers have to teach communication skills. It's only I see in NIT Trichy that is starting with an MA in English course that there is a great opportunity for teaching and reading and doing research in literature. Otherwise, as I've talked to my colleagues in other NITs, we have to somehow balance between communication skills and literature if it is our area of research.
Thank you. Now, one significant question. What is the difference between UGC CARE list A and B?
Okay. I don't think I am the right person to answer that, because we do not follow UGC guidelines. We are as a central government institute, and that too comes directly under MHRD, and we have our own norms. So therefore, I have not I've not gone into the details of UGC CARE list A and B. So therefore, I'm really sorry. I do not have a lot of information.
Thank you. Now, which high index is most significant at present?
Which
high index is most index?
Okay. See, there is H index that is used to see the impact factor. Okay, if you see high H index, if you see, I think Nature is the journal that has the maximum H index. It has the maximum impact factor. Then after that, we have CARE. Not CARE, sorry, CA. That is a cancer research journal that has come up, that holds the position of highest H index. So therefore, their impact factor is great. We also need to understand that the impact factor varies from discipline to discipline. Now, journals in the field of life sciences or in physical sciences obviously have a very great impact factor compared to journals in the field of social sciences or arts and humanities. So therefore, before we compare and see that a certain journal has a high impact factor, we must also see whether how the other journals in that discipline stand. So you cannot compare the impact factor of a literary journal to the impact factor of a journal, say in medical sciences. They are two very different things. And even if you read on the Scopus or on Web of Science websites, they will very clearly tell you that they are not comparable.
Now, almost all the participants have asked, suggest us a Scopus journal for all the disciplines, some journals for all the disciplines.
Oh my God, okay.
Including a participant from law.
From law.
Yes.
Okay, that is like a mammoth task you are asking me to do. Okay, I see, the best way, I do not have a list. Okay, I do not have a list. And honestly, I'll tell you what I experienced. I thought this was a very good journal, say like 2 years back. I read about a journal. I thought that this would be, this has probably the theme that I want to publish in. So I started writing the article, and I sent it to the journal, and I waited for 1 year, and I didn't get any reply for the journal. So I wasted around 2 years thinking that that journal would publish my article. Why? Because I had found the journal in I'd read somewhere that it falls under Scopus index journals. Now, after some time, when I went to the Scopus website, I found that that journal had been, it had stopped the publication, and it was not considered in the list anymore. So rather than my giving you a list of journals, it would be best that if you keep visiting and revisiting Scopus website. Okay, do not look for say a compiled list, although they for all subjects you will be able to get a PDF of the list of journals, but then it is so extensive that it is very difficult to find. Sometimes there are like thousands of journals in a certain field. So how will you identify? So the best way to do it is to go through the keywords. If it interests you, if I want to write, say, on women issues, so I would put in women issues, and that will give me the right list of journals, rather than having one compiled list and then trying to see in that. I would say, just try and use the Scopus website and see, look for the journals yourself. That will make it easier.
Two more questions, madam, but there are a lot of questions, yes. But I have selected a few questions. Yes. This is a very genuine question. Why are Scopus journal slow to respond, even though the papers had fulfilled all the requisite criteria?
Okay. I see what I understand, because I've been reading a lot of articles and blogs and things that is written by editors and reviewers. What I understand is it's a very tedious process. The reviewers, one, like I told you in my talk right now, that it often, your manuscript goes through at least 3 or 4 steps of screening. Now, each step probably, keep in mind, would take at least 1 month. Okay, all the people who are working for these journals are people who who have a full-time profession somewhere and are doing it and are contributing simply to maintain certain quality. Now, whether it is the editorial board that is there, editorial assistants, the desk clerk that is working for the editor, the editors who are doing the work, for most of them, this is an extra work. And especially, I feel reviewers take a lot of time, because reviewers are often extremely busy people. They take a lot of time to review your article, go through it again. And when the editor has sent it for double review, then in that condition the editor has to wait for two different reviewers to come up with their decision. So therefore, it takes a lot of time and everybody waits for decision to be made. And although now I feel that most of the journals have started having a timeline, and they try and keep sending reminders to the editors, and if to the reviewers, and if the reviewer has not responded in a certain time, your manuscript is sent to some other journal. But then that again takes, say, 1 month's time. So therefore, it depends upon how fast the editorial team works and how much time the reviewers are able to devote to this task.
Last question, madam. You take it in a lighter sense, and
Okay.
even I enjoy this question. And one more thing, that we have to finish this session before 6 o'clock, because it is scheduled only up to 6 o'clock. We have another 15 to 20 minutes to go, and we have a few more formalities. And the last question is, ma'am, I have published my research paper unknowingly in a fake journal. Unknowingly in a fake journal. How to deal with this, ma'am?
Okay. I hope by fake journal you mean that it is, it's a journal that probably takes your article and simply makes a PDF file and circulates it. Okay. I would suggest that if you have an article like that, if you have a publication like that, do not put it in your resume anywhere. Okay, forget that it was ever published. You can't retrieve it, and often these are people who would not even respond if you will try and file a case against them. Okay, so therefore the best way to do it is to simply forget that you ever had a publication like that. And that is also one reason I feel, if not now, probably next 5-10 years, I feel the Indian government, including UGC, MHRD, everybody is going to insist that all of us publish in Scopus index journals. And having said that, but you'll be surprised to know that there are many paid, and also there are some dubious journals that are indexed in Scopus also. I think one of us should write to the Scopus authorities to tell them that it should be retrieved. Another thing, it is important that, like, we come from the field of literature and we see that very few journals are indexed in the Scopus for us. So what we can do, we can ask the editorial team to have more and more journals scrutinized and to be included in the team. So there we will have more journals to publish.
Thank you, madam. And the formal session is over. And since you were not able to talk to the participants in the beginning, and have a few words with our participants, still we have 460 participants here. You can have some formal talk to them, and so that they'll be happy. There'll have plenty of compliments in the chat box. And
thank you so much. And to everyone who's listening, I feel I truly feel embarrassed that it took me a long time to connect, and I feel sorry for have wasted your time. And the other thing I would like to say to everyone who's listening here is that since we all are stuck at home and we have nothing to do, I think it is best time to see what are good journals, what people are writing and publishing on. Okay, and what saddens me a lot is that I've come across some really good papers published by academicians working and writing in India, in Indian universities. But then when I read those papers in a journal, probably that would not get them the proper platform that they deserve, it saddens me. I feel that you cannot tomorrow go and claim that paper, because if you have published a paper, say in a journal that publishes only a hard copy, after a few years people will not have an access to that journal, okay, or to that article. Whereas if you publish in a good a journal that not just comes up with a hard copy, but also a soft copy of it is available, then in that condition, your outreach is so huge. Even after a few years, anybody can access and read your paper. Initially, when I was doing my PhD, I published in some very good Indian journals, but today I don't find those papers anywhere. If I want to look for those papers, I do not see it anywhere. Probably those journals may be gathering dust in a few libraries somewhere. So since then, I've realized that instead of being in a hurry to publish, let me wait, let me persevere, let me have maybe only say 4 or 5 good papers, but then let it be papers that I want to be proud of. I keep telling my PhD students also that, we shouldn't be in a hurry to just add numbers to our credit or a number of papers in our resume. What is important is that we have to have at least 1 or 2 papers during our PhD that, would be something that we are proud of. And when we apply for a job somewhere, we should be able to then show it as a paper, an achievement that we have. And once you have published under Scopus, please know that your scope is suddenly broadened. You are not limited to only India. When, if you want to apply outside the country, there also whether it is the university or the researchers there, they would understand that if you have published in a Scopus index journal, that means that your work was of quality. UGC care list will get you, something, is of merit, but still, outside the country, it is not recognized, or not all the journals are recognized. So therefore, sometimes if you have maybe an article that you're not very sure of, I feel you can, you can send it to maybe UGC Care Journal. But then, if it is a brilliant idea, a good idea, I would say don't give up so easily. Wait, persevere, and try for around 1 whole year to bring it into the right shape that you want, and then see that it gets published. And having, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
No, go ahead.
Now, one of the comments that I could read, that is the last comment, I could see it in the box. Session would certainly trigger the young researchers towards authentic and reliable publications.
Yes, I truly hope. I hope I see the change in the entire publications that people in India have, and I feel it is most difficult for people in field of literature. Because in humanities and in arts, you see there are very few journals, and in literature, like you see, even though they are literary journals, most of them, the list that you see in Scopus or in SCI, you will see that they are either in Spanish or in French. So there are many languages in which it is followed. Unfortunately, none of the Indian languages is taken up in that. I think for that, more editors have, and the editorial board has to work hard to make more Indian journals indexed under Scopus. And I truly hope that whatever I had to say to all of you would help you, would be of use, and would help you to publish in better journals.
Thank you. Thank you. Now,
thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Now, our principal is going to have a few words.
Okay.
Followed, then next our secretary sir is waiting. Yes, sir, principal sir.
Yes. Ma'am, really, I am very happy with your presentation, Pastor.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes. To start with what to publish and what not to publish, right? And
yes.
Every time everything is new and original, and like it's novel and clear and useful, right? Some exacting message also. And how to publish regarding publish, at least they should follow the publication ethics. Yes. Actually, your presentation is very nice, ma'am. Excellent, neat, and clear. And
thank you.
More informative ways also. It is very much useful for budding scholars. Those who are doing PhD or those who are working as a assistant professor or associate or even a professor.
Yes,
Some of us, they are
yes.
not having clear-cut idea how they are going to write and how they are going to stress and publish and all these things. For this, it is very much useful. And really, your PhD scholars are lucky because,
Okay.
you
I'm so glad.
they the gods, God blessed people. So we are not having chance to do research under your guidance. Anyhow, they are really lucky. And I hope that there is a scope for Scopus publication. There is a, I hope that there is a
Very
scope
rightly said.
Scopus publication in future, because in chat box people are very excited. They are using very excited words. It's really, your presentation is very amazing, ma'am. And in question session, Ramasubramanian has raised so many questions, and out of this, and the UGC curl is A and B. I think A and B. I think Scopus and Web of Science list of article comes under A. UGC curl is A.
Okay.
Scopus,
Okay.
Web
All
of
right.
All
right.
other than Scopus and Web of Science, UGC curl is B. That I think.
Okay.
So.
All right.
I think so. But anyhow, really very informative. In past 10 to 15 years, I'm handling research methodology paper. Actually, I am very much interested in this area also. And today, I have a chance to get a more idea from your presentation. Certainly, I will share my experience with your presentation in the classroom also. Thank you for your nice presentation. And
thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, Madam, our Secretary, sir, is addressing you. Secretary, sir, Honorable Secretary, sir, of our college. Now, Secretary, sir, please unmute your audio, sir. Dhanalakshmi? Yes. Yes, sir.
Madam, thank you very much for your inspiring presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Today's session is a overwhelming one. You have clearly discussed about the importance of paper publication in Scopus syntax, like choosing the journal, finding the impact factors, publication fee, number of issues per year, do's and do nots, title of the paper, language, formatting, and how to conclude with the references. This session is very helpful to the young researchers to cope with the current trend of quality research. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Madam,
thank you for
so
the
much.
opportunity.
Yes. It's yes, sir. You want to speak, sir? Yes, sir. Secretary, sir.
Okay, okay. Yes,
yes sir, speak.
No. That's over.
Thank you. Ma'am, it is our privilege and pleasure. Don't say that you have given us, we have given you an opportunity. It is our pleasure and privilege that we had you with us, and nearly 600 participants. They are so excellent. You know, even we regret for the inconvenience that caused.
Yeah.
Yet I could see that. I could see that till 5:30. You could see that 530 participants are still there tuned to us. And that shows their commitment with the speaker and with the institution and with the journal. And we are extremely happy to have your presence here, madam. And as I told you earlier we had so many discussions with the consent of Anand Raviannan, and we would like to invite you to our place. And as I told you in the beginning, probably you would have not listened. And you are the most distinguished distinguished resource person in the northern side. And our institution, was the first institution which brought you to the south part of India. And
I'm so glad to
I hope that all the
interacted
participants,
with people in South India.
Yes, all the participants, they enjoyed your sessions like nothing, and definitely they will come back to you and they will contact you as I contacted you since I attended one of your sessions.
Sir, do send me the feedback.
Yes,
I would like
yes.
to, even
yes, I
even if there is some critical opinion, I would like to hear.
Yes, I will send you. We'll send you all the compliments that were said in the chat box, and also we'll send you the feedback. Maybe by this time tomorrow you will get it, madam, through your mail.
No, sir, take your time. I understand you have other sessions also. Maybe next week or just send me the list, the comments.
No,
whatever comments.
We'll generate in a day.
Okay.
Yes, right. Definitely, madam. Okay. And before we close the session, there is a formal vote of thanks, and I invite Professor Dr. Suresh Babu, who is an assistant professor of commerce and also one of the members in IQAC, and I invite him to propose the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. Good evening to all. I take immense pleasure to propose vote of thanks. I thank the management, particularly our respected secretary, sir, and our Lord Principal for giving a chance to member of IQAC and work along with the team of IQAC of our college. We have been waiting for a long time for this session. All the teaching community and scholars have a hunger to publish their research journals, particularly in reputed journals like Scopus. When we were looking for the resource person, we thought of Dr.Urvashi Kaushal ma'am to be the right person to take session on publishing papers in Scopus journals. Respected madam, you did justice to your invitation. We are extremely happy, and I strongly believe that the participants would have really benefited by your session. On behalf of Mandal Tirunelveli College and IPSC, I extend my sincere thanks and gratitude to you, madam. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I thank all the participants of your love and overwhelming responses. The IPSC work hard, make you all happy and satisfied. We are encouraged by your feedback. Thank you for your trust and love. I also thank my teaching faculty from our college for their interest and energy and active participation. Thank you all once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, see, look at your watch. It is almost 6 now. And still we have 300
Never
plus
mind.
participants.
I can sit and talk. It's just that I have taken your extra time. I'm so sorry.
And it is pouring down outside, and yet people are still they stay tuned to us.
All right. And a
special
thanks to your your admin who was extremely cooperative and patient with me. For all the glitches that I was doing at the technical level.
Sudhar. Only because of him and we make it. Yes. He's the admin.
He was very cooperative. Please do convey my thanks to him. I hope he's here and he's listening. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, Sardar, for making this possible for me. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And tomorrow we'll see as
I intend to listen to.
And before you came here, I acknowledged your presence yesterday. Right from the first minute to the last minute. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And
thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you all the participants. Let us meet at 3:40 tomorrow, and if possible, you come a little earlier. And the speaker has consented to take the session for 1.5 hours. And I'll be happy if you are here by 3:30. Let us start the session at 3:40 to 5:40 tomorrow. Thank you so much, all of you, for your trust and hope and the cooperation and the coordination towards Mana College. Thank you so much. For this, we'll leave the meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor. This is day 3, 15th May 2020, publishing in Scopus indexed journals. Speaker Dr. Urvashi Kaushal. Session is ended now.
Thank you. Thank you.